When we were diagnosed, I think what probably, like I said, you had to go through the sort of the shame and the fear of what else may be coming my way, and just the sheer recognition that I'm going to be dealing with a beast. It's not a kind one. It's not a kind one. It was probably harder for my wife than it was for me. We had the tears. I was had plenty of crying over it as well. I think more out of my concern for her than for me. I think she was taking it harder than I was. I was pretty much willing pretty quickly to say, okay, so this is the way this is going to be. And I've carried on like that ever since. Actually, I think it was wonderful that it all turned out the way it did, because the quality of things that I'm doing now, to me, are beyond what architecture would have for me. That's not what drives me now. I'm much more into the whole dementia thing that's going on. That's going to be wonderful stuff, and it's happening. The Finney Neighborhood Association is probably one of the more wonderful things that is in the neighborhood. One of the best things in the neighborhood. And it's what it does very well is it welcomes everyone into the fold. And so I've been going to the gathering group on Thursdays for a long, long time. We'd get together and talk about how's it all going, you doing okay, how's your life, so on and so forth, and what have you. So they make it a place that is just very oriented towards the kindness. You know, having people come in and feeling like you can say whatever you feel you need to say. So they do things that will make us happy, but also they'll do things that are useful to have. Yeah, good for the brain. If I had something to say, it would be that I love these people dearly. Simply because of her simple kindness. It's the kindness again. That kindness between us is the biggest prize we've got. There's a lot of laughter, hilarity, it's just great.
I just called my son and I said, there's something terribly the matter with me. And so I was living in the Bay Area, and I wasn't eating, and I'd forget to eat it. So I called Kev and I said, Kev, there's something the matter. Would you please come and see what's happening? He came and got me and brought me up to Seattle and took me to the University of Washington, I believe, and where I was diagnosed. Actually, I really didn't understand what that meant. I didn't, realize what a powerful disease it is. It was frightening, and then I thought, well, there's a lot of worse things that you could have. So, I'm just dealing with it on a daily basis, and thank God for the senior center. Everybody is so kind and so good. And one of the benefits is I learned how to play mahjong, so that was good. And I have some pals there. I go Monday through Friday to the senior center. Well, it's just wonderful. I've made friends there, and everybody is very kind, and they serve a nice lunch, and it's just a wonderful place to go. I mean, I'm used to working or volunteering and that kind of thing. So having something to do on a daily basis is really important for me.
My husband was Vern Hansen, and we were married for 55 years, and he died last October from Alzheimer's. Well, it's the same story that I think most people have, which is that you don't know until you look back. But there were signs, in the early 2000s. Memory was becoming an issue, speaking language was all becoming more difficult. He was very aware that something was happening. At a certain point, he had periods where he didn't know who I was or who the kids were, and that became frustrating for him. We were really floundering, and wondering what was going on and how to get resources. And so it was, I think, about the summer of 2010 when Vern started participating in the group for early memory loss people, and then I started participating in the caregivers group there. Once we got a hold of that, it was like we had a framework to operate in and resources. We went in as a couple, and later on then I brought my kids in to see her. And so I found myself, taking advantage of all kinds of things there. Twice a year they offer classes called Powerful Tools for Caregiving, and that was really critical. But it was that I needed to ask for help and how to ask for help. And then secondly, how critical it was to take care of myself. And the whole notion that you're not going to get through it if you don't find ways to take care of yourself. But the other interesting thing about Greenwood was they have a couple of watercolor classes. Vern's painted all of his life. And that was not specific to people with dementia. And the group knew that he was having issues, but they were just incredibly supportive. And so between, the gathering place and that watercolor class, it was a wonderful support for him.
Everybody who's associated with the Greenwood Senior Center has been absolutely wonderful.
I have to say that I don't know how we would have managed it without the support we had. Key to that was the Greenwood Center.